So, good morning everybody. Welcome to Glenleathann. I am Osa. We are playing a Farming Simulator 22 and I've picked up 3 hay contracts today just because it's probably a good plan. Oh, how do I adjust toggle work mode? There you go. Control and Y. Good start. I could probably turn that off now if I could remember which button it was. That one. And set up a course. Yeah. Generate field course. Back. And back and back. And close enough. Go. And the conditioner is on. So we'll just leave him floating around the yard. In the meantime, I want this tractor. Missed. Get this on the windrower. Now, because of the way this is all working out, everything's fine. I do not need to run follow me or copy the course to any other tractor. The reason being, well, until we get to the baler. If I don't want to bale myself, well, who knows? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But because they all have different working widths, the last vehicle in the batch is the windrower. That one I'll need to do the thing for. But the mower's nipping round quite nicely. I do not want this getting in the way, so what I'll do is base game. Hay. Force it to hay. And I'll turn the engine off. Well then go. Oh, I guess we'll get this guy hitched up on the bale trailer, because we will need that eventually, but that's not going anywhere quickly. He's pretty good. So I've now seen a bunch of folks have produced what I'd like to see in Farming Simulator 25 videos. It seems to be fairly certain that we will see Farming Simulator 25 at the end of this year. Although Giants still hasn't made an official announcement on that. Frankly, the thing I would like to see is sort of an expansion on the construction menu, where, for example, we go to construction, landscaping and decoration and fences, and what you can do is you can plop a fence down and draw a fence. I would love to see you be able to draw a fence round a grass field, call it a pasture, and allow it to be used to house animals. Obviously with grass it's going to be sheep and cows and maybe horses, and allow them to graze that pasture, and then have the buildings that, you know, dairy, shearing shed, that sort of thing, as separate buildings that you can attach to the side of the field or the pasture that you've created. Get rid of all of the cow sheds, you know, all of that type of stuff, and just go with a free flow or a free form painter for animal storage. You could paint multiple pastures, so once an animal has done, you know, once you put an animal in a field, you can either relocate it to one of your other fields, or you can buy more animals for the second field. So like we had in Farm Sim 19 with the 3 sheep fields, or sheep pastures, each one was a separate entity. They weren't linked, so I couldn't move sheep from one field to another. Although I did sometimes. If I had too many sheep sell in one field, I would move some of the different age animals into an adjacent field to allow for expansion. Kind of a fun thing, and I think it would work, considering all the other stuff that we can do in the game. That would be a really nice feature. Pigs are awkward because pigs you don't usually put out in fields, although you could, and maybe instead of grass there is other stuff that pigs root around in the dirt for. It's missing bits at the end, so I am going to take this clean up the field a little after he's done. I guess I can move this down there. The other thing I think that would be interesting to add is we've already got weeds and rocks which do different things. You could incorporate pests and have your crop sprayed with pesticides or something like that. You could have diseases. I'm not sure there is a way to mitigate disease damage. And weather. You could have, and they did sort of suggest that the Farming Simulator 22 weather was going to be much more severe, but quite frankly it's, there's thunder and lightning, there's heavy rain and light rain, but really there's nothing much in the way of effect of the weather on the ground. I'd like to see weather can damage things. Too little rain can cause a lack of moisture which will affect the growth of the plants. Too much rain may also do the same thing. Everything toggleable, so you can switch it on, switch it off, however you feel. I did put GPS on this. You know what? Let's do the GPS thing. I don't know what my heading is. Direction. That'll work then. But make it a little bit more interesting with how the weather interacts with what you're doing. could be an interesting thing. GPS does not pick the same course as Courseplay did. That's interesting. Although, that said, it could be something completely at the whim of where the worker left me facing. But, well, it doesn't matter, because, oops, the button there. Because really we're just cutting the grass, and it doesn't matter if I'm on the same angle as the rest of the field or not. It's the tedding and it's the windrowing that's going to affect where the baler goes, unless I manually bale, because I could do that. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is take us round and expand this corner out. And then back on the row. So yeah, it's sort of little features. I know some people want deforming terrain, and this isn't spin tyres or whatever it is now. It would be nice to have that sort of thing, but having the effect may be better than necessarily having the visual. And sometimes the problem with deformable terrain, and I seem to recall, what was it, EverQuest Next was supposed to be the replacement to EverQuest 2, and they sort of demoed aspects of it but never really got into getting the game up and running, and then it was shelved because Sony Online lost interest in doing online things and sold all of their games or game maintenance to other companies. But the problem with that is when you dug down through the dirt sufficiently, you could fall through the world, which would be kind of a problem for Farming Simulator if you're driving, unless the mud is, effectively 6 foot deep. You're going to end up with the vehicles dropping through the bottom of the map when you gouge a track sufficiently. But having the effect of it's been raining a lot and all of the roadways are wet and may be flooded or may not be flooded, but farm tracks will be boggy. That's the other thing. I'm playing with Rain Pane and the Mud mod, which means that when there's mud, you sink into it effectively, and as soon as it stops being, the ground stops being wet, you stop sinking into it, and it reforms into a flat, perfect thing. But I have that, and I have Rain Pane, and what Rain Pane does is it makes for the ground is wet following a storm. Now, it's a fairly simplistic the ground is wet type of affair, and it doesn't really differentiate between you've had light rain for 6 hours, which has kind of saturated the ground, or you've had an hour flash storm that has soaked the ground, or you've had a very light shower that lasted half an hour and really just freshened things up. It didn't destroy, it didn't make the ground wet. But with Rain Pane, I have to consider that what is it? The ground and the crop is considered to be wet, and it works fairly well alongside the mud mod, but the ground is going to be wet for a number of hours equal to the number of days you play per month. So I'm playing 4 days a month, so I typically have to wait 4 hours for a crop to dry out. So if it stops raining at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be able to do anything until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because 4 hours later. Now that's a nice feature, but it doesn't take into account the severity of the storm. You raise that, you raise that. Is there a gap in the hedge behind? Oh, there is. That's nice. But to be able to have different severities of storm, and thus different effects on your crop, if you get an extremely severe storm, it could flatten the crops if they're old enough. If they're too close to ripe, they may never recover. What am I doing? I'm doing that thing. I probably should do that thing and set a course. Generate field course, back. Oh, hush. Excuse me while I check on a couple of things on my phone. Number one, you, hush. And I seem to have a text message. Do my check-in for my doctor's appointment this week, which is on the 16th. Well, more on that later. But for right now, he's now doing his thing. I'll find it eventually. This one here. So yeah, it's, you know, just give us a little bit more in the way of stormage and what have you. Smooth edges, I think. Generate the field. And looks like we need to be over there. But yeah, the weather aspect could be expanded. The whole seasons thing. A lot of us refer to seasons as seasons light. It's not nearly as comprehensive as Realismus made it for Farm Sim 17 and Farm Sim 19. But it is good. The ability for hay to dry would be a really nice feature. So you ted the hay, or you ted the grass, yeah, that's nice. But you still have to wait for the sunlight to dry it out. So unless you do that, and again, I'd suggest something along the lines of, oh dear, it's going to rain today. If it rains, then it gets wet. You have to ted it again. But if it stays dry for a number of hours equal to the number of days that you're playing with per month, you can immediately go out and deal with the hay. But me doing this here would not create hay. It would create sort of a semi-dry grass, which in 4 hours' time would become hay. And I'm going to check what the weather says. Hello? Rain at 1. Okay. So good to know. Guess we're not doing anything else yet. I could go back to mowing again, I guess. What do we think? It says over there. 22 minutes to head the field and 10 minutes to mow it. But then once I get to windrowing, I can do all of the... probably jump in the doodad, the thing that makes the square bricks, baler, and do that myself. Okay, in the meantime, farmland. This is still at 53%. That field there is at -24. We could buy that. Kind of don't want to. I think it's got a crop in it for a start. That's oats. Pretty sure that's oats. And I don't have a harvester yet, so that's kind of an issue. Okay, let's go. I don't know why I have a chainsaw in my hand, but obviously I'm feeling dangerous. 1993. We've got a little bit of lime, a little bit of solid fertilizer, and 27 litres of diesel. I'm not buying 32,000 pounds worth of diesel, but maybe that much would be good. I think don't have a lime spreader. Buy that and I'll buy it a couple of thousand. No, I don't use that. I don't use that anymore. I use this stuff. And so buy a couple of thousand litres of that too. A couple being 5. Okay, I need a lime spreader. I forgot about that. Now I was considering where is it? One of these. Oh. Yeah, that one. Because it has a good capacity. So we only have to go out once with it. But we'll give it a wait for now. Okay, how's this doing? You know what? Do that, and again, I will turn on the cruise control. I'm heading 225. And how about we go forwards? Forwards is a good thing to go. There we have it. So, yeah, it's, as I said, things we can do. And I just wanted to knock out these hay contracts quickly. Turns out I really, really need to knock them out quickly. Fortunately, morning was 6 o'clock, so not like I'm going to lose out on much of anything. Okay, and not that one. Next row over. So yes, I guess right now what I want to do is make money. I want to buy these grass fields, and I'm hoping they'll become a reasonable price today. I already have a head to forage the oats, but it's really not a great yield that you get from whole crop. We already bought one field and foraged it, and quite frankly, we got about 60,000 litres off a field that, with grass or maize, we'd get 500,000 litres, or at least 100,000 litres. So it's quite a significant drop-off foraging whole crop. It is worth more financially, but I'm kind of thinking it's not worth that much more. And good morning, Cameo. Yes, so today we have the end of a snowstorm. Weather.com. I really don't know. Oh, we have a winter disaster warning. So it's supposed to snow until midday. It snowed, no, until an eye. It's supposed to snow, well, actually till 1 o'clock and then start again at 8 o'clock. So yay, fun. Sorry, reading weather reports at the moment. Snow accumulation of less than 1 inch this morning. Snow accumulating up to 3 inches tonight. Snow accumulating up to 3 inches tomorrow morning. Sunday's going to be another white day, I guess. Of course, doing the random corners, I don't know which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. So 13 minutes left on the header. I may have to run the tedder through the edges as well. I think the tractor does a little bit better with edging with the tedder than it does with the mower. But we already have about, I would guess, 3 to 4 inches out there. Not going anywhere today. Not planning on doing anything today. Sadly, Mrs. Osa's PC went in to the local geek dude, not the geek squad, to be looked at. And apparently it had a few issues with corrupt sectors on the disk and needed to have a couple of updates run